Hello, hello. My name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am Crucifix.
and welcome to another episode of
WeCast.
where we cast
And
you
you
playing.
play.
Yes, exactly. We cast you playing games while we cast and while you play.
And you watch us cast while you play. Well, not really, but still it's a great time for everybody.
It is a very great time for everybody indeed, as we are approaching the holiday season.
Which holiday is that, Sharpies?
The
Mem-
April holiday.
yeah, Memorial Day is coming up. That counts. Look, I think Flag Day is around, so holiday season indeed.
Holiday season indeed, as we'll be hopping into yet another exciting game tonight, featuring our
Mm.
very own Sick and Galaxy.
Oh ho!
Alright, and as you guys may or may not know, Sick is our very wonderful clan leader, and he has done great things for the clan, including hosting tournaments every month.
I think really the best thing he did for the clan is making it. I think that was probably the number one thing.
Absolutely, I mean, without Sick, I mean, there is no OHHO.
There isn't indeed. Let's get this party started.
All right, let's go ahead and switch the screen. All right, go ahead and click on the watch button. So it will be it is looking like the map will be Clantis Marti. Crucifix, what are your thoughts on this map?
Well, I think I don't like the name very much. I think Klontis is not a real word. It reminds me of Klondike Bar because of the Klon is spelled the same way as the beginning of that word. It sounds like it looks like they're going to be doing a good job at this map because they are good players. But in my personal opinion, I just think the map is kind of awkward. You have this bridge here that forces you to either spaghetti your units through this little bridge in the center to get to your opponent or go all the way around the bottom. And I feel like in both cases you're losing. So no matter how you get to your opponent, you feel like you're doing it the wrong way. And I don't think that it is I just don't think it's very fun to play because at all points in time you feel like you're at a disadvantage by going to attack your opponent.
Absolutely, it is kind of like trying to eat a live chicken. No matter how you try to do it, you're gonna do it the wrong way.
Exactly. There is no good way to eat a live chicken, as in the chicken will keep moving throughout the eating process. Especially if you eat his head first. Now, it looks like we do have our Protoss player Krona boosting out some probes, which is a good idea because that makes them come out faster, which everybody wants.
But Crucifix, we haven't introduced our players yet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess we can do that.
All right, spawning in the upper left-hand corner here, we have OHHO Galaxy.
Pink Zerg! And in the right-hand corner, we have OHHO Sick as the Yellow Protoss.
Very sick indeed, as he has a very cool-looking emblem here.
He does. It looks like a Z, but not quite. More like it's very cool. Very cool indeed.
And it does look like those probes did try to take out that drone, but they missed, and Sick
They
says
did
the
fail.
whiff.
The whiff. And Galaxy says, rude because you're trying to kill my drone. Why would anybody do that? I don't know. I would never kill anything because I am a pacifist. But they seem not to be and are going to fight each other to the death.
That sounds very brutal in this modern society.
Indeed, you don't think there would be any to the death matches anymore, but here we are, a sad and lonely race. Now, we do have this Overlord for the Zerg player slowly but surely overlording its way over to the Protoss space to try to get a little bit more info, and there is an Overlord already at the main of the Protoss, getting all the info it could ever want.
You know what they say about overlords, don't you?
I don't.
Once an overlord, always an overlord.
That is true. Overlords can turn into. You're right. They can't turn into anything else. They can carry other units. They can go a little faster, but they will always be overlords. Not true for corruptors. They can turn into broodlords.
Actually, I might be wrong. Overlords do turn to overseers sometimes, but
They do. That's true. So
I take that back.
okay, I'm glad. I'm embarrassed that I didn't think of that. We do have what's looking like a Forge Fast expand coming out of the Protoss player, followed by a Cybernetics core. Is that a late Cybernetics core, or is that just how it works when you do a Forge Fast expand?
Um, when you do a Forge Fast expand, your Cybernetic Core will be delayed pretty late. So
See.
this is actually a very normal timing here for this Cybernetic Core going down.
Okay, great. Looks like we do have spawning pool up, and speed is being researched from the Zerg player, as long with the base, the natural, already producing drones, getting his economic status up to full, which is the best status you could possibly want for your economic game.
Absolutely. I mean, without economics, I mean, what do you have? You have just units.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't even get those units that you want without those economics. Looks like we are having Zerglings that'll just run right past that wall. That Zealot there did absolutely nothing to stop them. Gonna run right into the mineral line. We do see the probes on his attack command. He does kill two probes. So I think that was probably a worthwhile endeavor from the Zerg player.
Actually, it looks like only one probe went down.
You're
Looking
right.
at the units killed count. Wow.
Only one probe went down. Yeah,
So
you're right.
it actually does look like the fighting prowess of the probes is not to be trifled with.
No, it is not. The probes do have a very deadly electronic tickle beam, as they are technically called. And it's looking like from the units lost tab, the Zerg player lost much more than the Zerg player, than the Protoss player. 100 minerals more, actually. 100,
Absolutely.
106, if you want to really get down to it. Now, we do see that the Zerg player took two extractors, but he is mining from neither of them, which was a very interesting move. Looks like he did just transfer drones to the one on the natural, though.
Crucifix, what do you think of that? I mean, was he trying to get some extra gas there, but forgot to? Or?
I think honestly he forgot. I think that's what happened, and I don't know why he's mine. I think he mined. I think he did mine some gas from the one at the main to be able to research speed, for sure. But then the fact that he built one at the natural as well, is kind of a mystery to me, as he's still not mining from the one at the main. So why build a extractor from your natural and only mine from that one if you already have one at the main?
Right. He might have actually forgotten that he built his first one.
Maybe, and he did just transfer the drones there now. So I guess we do have full gas extracting going on as we speak. So that's good.
Absolutely. Judging from this bottom base down here, we do see that he might be a little scared as he produced these roaches down here instead of drones.
Indeed. Well, he is fully saturated at both his. At the time of producing those roaches, he was fully saturated at both his main and his natural, so maybe he felt like he had a few extra minerals while his third was producing. But now that his third is produced, I would expect to see more droning up to fully saturate that third base.
Absolutely. Going back to the Protoss base, we do see that he is mining from all of his gases, so I mean...
He is very gas heavy, that's for sure.
We are expecting some gas heavy units to be coming out pretty soon. Hopefully not as heavy as the Overlords.
Indeed, not at all. And honestly, you would think that the Overlords would be light because of the fact that they can fly, but it turns out that they each weigh 500 pounds and they just happen to have way too much helium. That makes no sense. Moving on, let's go to the Protoss player who has two bases to the Zerg's 3, which puts the Zerg in a good position. Looks like he is going to kill these rocks and attempt to either take his third or to kill this Overseer with all the passion he could possibly muster. And meanwhile, he is definitely saturated at his natural base, along with building up units. But honestly, the army count from the Protoss doesn't seem that large. But it looks like both players are playing very economic games right now.
Very economic indeed, as both players will be opting to play a more macro-oriented game instead of trying to
Indeed, not too much early pressure at all. I don't. The only bloodshed we have seen so far is Zergling to probe, and only one probe went down. So both players are just trying to get as much money as possible. Meanwhile, the Protoss player, it looks like all that gas he's been collected has been for naught, at least for now, because he doesn't seem to be able to spend it all, as his mineral count is relatively low, but his gas count, while it did just take a big downturn, is still at a was still very high. But now that he's morphing in these Archons, getting his upgrades out, he is queued up for shields as well after plus a level 2 attack. He is spending that gas as well as he can, but still has over 600 as we speak.
Absolutely. Crucifix, I have to ask you one very important question.
What's that?
So, Archons are actually blended by two individual units.
Right.
So, let's say that both units had totally different personalities. What kind of personality would the Archon have?
The Archons, it's a good question that you've asked me that, because it's something that I know a lot about. As I have studied Archons in college, I majored in Archon psychology, which is very specific study that most colleges don't offer, but mine did. And it turns out that all Archons have the same personality, and that is the personality of a douche. So now that you know that, it turns out that everybody knows more about Archons now. So I'm glad.
Wow, that is something that I did not know. But
No?
I will actually try to I will try my best to stay away from them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nobody likes somebody who's always in your face and trying to splash damage you, and that's what Archons always try to do.
Absolutely. We do see some more zealots coming here. But the question is, do Archons and zealots get along?
I don't. I think so. The zealots are smaller than the Archons, about a fourth as small actually. So I think the zealots might be kind of like that annoying kid neighbor that looks up to the big annoying kid neighbor. But I haven't studied too much zealot psychology, so I can't tell you for sure.
All right, good to know.
Now it is looking like the Protoss player is going deeply into a zealot Archon immortal army composition, which honestly I think this is the very first time I have ever seen this many Archons in a fight before any battle has ever started. This is a very bold and unique build from Sick here. It's actually kind of cool. A zealot Archon immortal mix might be deadly to this Zerg player, as Zerg does like to mix a lot of biological units, and those Archons should be good. Meanwhile, we have the Zerg player with Hydra, Roach, and we even have some Vipers ready to get those Colossi that the Protoss does not have.
And it does look like the Zerg will be trying to break down these rocks to secure another expansion.
Indeed, and I really like that every time that the Protoss player takes an expansion, as you can see the Protoss is taking his fourth now, the Zerg looks like every time the Protoss does, the Zerg moves to take his additional one. So the Zerg has been able to maintain a base ahead this entire game, which is exactly what Zerg wants to do.
Absolutely. It actually does look like the Protoss, the Protoss hasn't maxed yet. But the Zerg is very close to 200. So.
Indeed, and it does look like we are reaching the 17th minute of this game without seeing any battle whatsoever. This is one of the more passive games I have ever seen at the platinum level, but but at the same time, both players' macro has been pretty good. I mean, they've been expanding when they should. They've been building units. They just chose not to engage each other.
Absolutely, and we do see actually Ultralisks over here.
Indeed, and I think the Zerg player might be moving out now that he has some. But we'll just have to see. We do have him at the very middle of the map, like literally as middle as you can get. And it looks like he is going to move down towards that fourth base of the Protoss to try to cause some damage. And honestly, he's probably going to, because the Protoss doesn't have too much over here. But it looks like he's going to forget that and go straight for the third. We'll see if it looks like he already has killed several drones. He'll kill another one, probes, rather. He'll kill another one, kill even more, and here comes the army of the Protoss. Let's see who comes out on top on this engagement. It looks like this third base for the Protoss is going to go down. What do you think about the status of this game right now, Sharp Eyes?
It looks like both armies will be maxed.
Indeed. And here come the Vipers to grab that Colossi. Does come over to the Zerg. It was, and the Poisonous Cloud comes down, doesn't do too much. It looks like that grab from the Vipers didn't do too much either, and this Zerg army is going down.
That was a crazy trade here. Looking like the Protoss will be coming up on top.
Indeed, and is it just me, or did these 3 Colossi seem to apparate? Like, wow, that it seems like they came out of nowhere, or maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention.
I actually did not see them come in.
Yeah, but it looks like he is going to rebuild his 3rd base and get those probes right back to work. Meanwhile, those probes are going to long-distance mine to the natural expansion while that Nexus is fish building. And a lot of new players, they'll say, oh, well, I don't have a base there anymore. I might as well just send all these probes to my natural or to the 4th, which is already saturated. But that's actually a bad idea. Because if they have over 24 harvesters, they actually don't collect any additional minerals. So for all you out there, long distance mining is a better option than having over 24 harvesters at any patch. But
holy overlord, there is
a giant engagement for sure. Wow, there are lots of Zerglings in the main. It's looking like they cleaned up all the harvesters that were there, and we'll probably killed both of those Zealots. Let's see if how the Protoss replies.
Looking like the Protoss player will be coming with major monsters these little Zerglings. Zerglings pose no threat to this overwhelming, powerful Archon force.
Indeed, they do not. They did not kill any buildings, but it looks like that there are now zero probes mining at the natural. But there's only 9. There's only a small amount of minerals there anyway, so it's not that big of a detriment to the Zerg player. I mean, to the Protoss player.
Looking over here, we do see that the Zerg player is sending out some drones here. Crucifix. What do you think these drones are doing?
It looks like a little bit of misrally there from the Zerg player. Probably went to rally his army to the Protoss base, accidentally pressed his hotkey for his hatches instead, and rallied those over to the Protoss, which was a bad idea. Either that, or looks like actually he might just be clearing up space to get a bigger army, because those drones are taking up way too much supply.
Looking like another huge engagement over here. Protoss will be destroying this hatch.
Indeed, the hatch goes down, and it's looking like he's going right over to the 5th, and that's going to go down too, unless both of those Ultralisks go down without killing almost a single unit. This hatch is going to go down as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Zerg player GGing sometime soon, because while he does have he has a maxed army, but he's doing nothing with it right now. He's just letting the Protoss player kill his bases willy-nilly. I think he's going to save up for as big of an engagement as he can get, and I think we're going to see that momentarily. Whoever wins this, I think, will win the game. Never mind, the Zerg player is going to go straight to the Protoss base, turning around now, going to go back to the Protoss army. I think here it is. We're going to see this giant Ultralisk Protoss engagement. We have lots of Archons, which aren't necessarily good against Ultralisk, as they're better against biological units. And here we go. Let's see what happens with this Protoss Zerg battle. These Ultralisks are just shredding through these Archons and these Colossi, but there may just be a little too much for the Zerg to handle, and it does look like all those Ultralisks will go down, and now we're going to see the Protoss move into an undefended Zerg base. There are some Corruptors on the field to take care of the Colossi, but even so, we have reinforcements from the Protoss streaming down, and we do have a Warp Prison for further reinforcement. Do you think this is going to be GG right here?
Maybe, but looking at the mineral pool for both players, we do see that both players do have quite a bit of mineral in their bank, and so
quite a bit, yeah.
And, it actually may be possible for the Zerg to maybe get on the equal footing here, as he is helping out Corruptors to take care of these Colossi, and more units on the ground to take care of these Stalkers and Immortals.
Yeah, I think that Stalker is going to go down right now, and the numbers from the Protoss army are dwindling, and they are battling Broodlords, but Broodlords by themselves and in small numbers aren't quite good enough. There are 3 Corruptors left, but it looks like the reinforcements from the Protoss might be a little too much to handle.
looking like the Protoss player will be reinforcing with a bunch of stalkers here, very powerful units.
And we do have the GG from Galaxy.
There is the GG.
Honestly, I thought that was a very close game. That the I thought that the Zerg was a little late to react when the Protoss player killed his fourth rather, and then let him just go right down to his fifth and kill that too. I thought that the Zerg player was sitting on a maxed army for a very long time and didn't do enough with it to kill the Protoss player before the Protoss player killed him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, late game, the Protoss Death Ball is just so powerful that the Zerg
Indeed.
really has no choice but to engage in some mid-game aggression in order to fend off the
Right,
expansions.
right. I mean, his army composition was not bad against the Protoss player. I mean, the Protoss player went Archon. He went Archon Zealot, Archon Zealot Colossi, which is very, very good against light units, but not as good against those really heavy armored units that the Zerg opted for, like the Ultralisk. But I think the Zerg player waited a little too long, let the Protoss player mass so much that it just didn't matter at that point. The Protoss player had too much for the Zerg to handle.
Absolutely, too much indeed, as Protoss will be winning this game. And I think this is actually the third game from the Mayflowers tournament. And yeah, Sick got this 2-1.
I thought that was a great game, and I look forward to seeing more from both of those players.
Absolutely. My name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am
and
Crucifix.
we are signing.